Here, if you want to make any unit level testing, if you want to check how the execution of your statements are running, we need to go to log files and see it. In the log files, if you want to print any information as a checkpoints, if you want to print any information as a checkpoints, we use system.debug. So what is the statement we had? System.debug. What is the purpose of this? This method is used to print the statements. This method is used to print statements in the log file. This will be useful as checkpoint or for unit testing. Now, system.debug expression. Whatever the expression is going to generate, whatever the expression it is going to generate, whatever the expression we are giving, that expression is going to be printed in the log file. Whatever the expression we are giving, that expression is printed in the log file. So like I have given here, system.debug. Get the output as Satish. Whatever the expression we have given, that expression will be printed in the log file. If I give integer age equal to I'm going to take string name this is how we are giving. System.debug, whatever the expression we are giving, that expression will be printed. Now, sometimes I want to print value along with some label. Sometimes I want to print value along with the label. Sometimes I want to print value along with the label. So what I do, string plus anything is string. We need to understand one quick point here. String plus anything is a string. String plus anything is a string. Now, anything plus string is also a string. String plus anything is a string. Anything plus string is also a string. Now, if you go with this, I'm giving here string plus anything now I gave Sham plus, so we get the output as Sham. My name. So when you say it's a string, anything that you write within the single quotes is a string. Anything that you write within the single quote is a string. Anything that you write within the single quote is a string. Anything that you write within the single quote is a string. Anything that you write within the single quote is a string. Plus now I'm giving here. So string plus variable will give you my name. Are you getting my point? Anything plus string is a string. String plus anything is also a string. So if you want to print any output, look at the examples now I have. System.debug. So it is going to print my name, Kiran. Are you getting my point? So how will you test this? Here we have debug. Beside the debug, open, execute, anonymous window. Open, execute, anonymous window. Here you write the statement. System.debug. 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 This is a very good. Now, after writing this statement, what we have? Open log. Here we have open log. Select this. Select the open log. Then execute. When I execute, log file will be open. When I click on execute, log file will be open. When the log file opens, let us see. This is the log file. Now, no need to check all the things. When you open the log file, scroll down. Here you are able to see here. Debug. Let me show you this. At the bottom, look at the bottom. What you are finding here? Debug. You are supposed to enable this debug only so that you find only debug statements. Right now you are finding complete log. How the statements are executed, complete log you are able to find. But to find the output in this, it's difficult. So what I'm doing, when I said debug only, we're getting the output what we're getting. This example, 40, my age is 40, 40 years old. Right, boss? So how you are defining this? How to define this? If you want to test it, developer console. So we have execute anonymous window. Write the code. Write code. Select debug only. Click on execute. Execute. Select debug only. So this is how we are going to write the code. This is how we are going to write the code. Open the debug, open execute anonymous window, write the code, then select debug, log, execute the code, then select debug only. You find the entire output. I hope you are clear with this. Right. Now basically the system.debug is to print the data in log file. This is not for printing the data in the UI. We don't print the data in the UI with log files. Only to check your data on the log file. Only to check your data on the log file we are using this. So system.debug is only for what? Printing the data in the log file. What is the order of execution? Now everything is working fine or not. If any error comes where the problem has occurred, to trace it we'll be using system.debug. For testing purpose it is more useful. I hope you are good. Right? Am I clear with this? Okay. So let us go to the next, creation of statements. When you want to create the statements, let us look at the basic level examples. I have a requirement like this.
Satish, I want to look at the program again. I had difficult connecting to your session. Can I show the code again?
Ask the question straight away. What is the question?
I want to look at the code again. I had difficulty connecting to your session when you started, so I was late by 2 minutes.
Now, so now look at this. After creating these statements, how do you understand a requirement and convert them in the form of? How do you understand the requirement and convert them in the form of a program? Now, converting your wordings into programmatical format. Okay. Let me give you the structure here. Let me give you the structure. The first requirement here is now I'll be giving a wording here. Let me convert the wording into program. So I went to a shop. I had the following conversation. So try to understand how do you understand the requirement, convert them into programmatical format. So I went to a shop. I asked, what is the price of the book? This is a conversation what I had with the shopkeeper. What is the name of the book? So they told, asked, who is the author? Told some Chetan. Asked, what is the price of the book? They asked, how many books you want? I told 40 books. The total price $40. Tax 10% off total. So what is the total price, final price? Total price plus tax. This is the conversation what I had. And this conversation I want to convert it to the form of programming. So we had a conversation. I asked what is the name of the book. He told 2 states. I told who is the author. He told Chetan. Then I asked what is the price, 200. I asked How many books you want? I told 40 books I need, the total price, tax, and the complete final price. So this is the conversation what I had. Looking at this conversation, we are supposed to identify what is the data involved in the program. The 80% of the programming is understanding what is the data involved, who is going to provide the data, which data has to be calculated, which data should be taken from the UI, which data should be taken from the database. Now, any requirement you are trying to build, the primary point, 80% of your requirement lies with understanding the data, what is the data involved, and the data comes from whom, which data will be coming from user, which data should be taken from system, which data need to be calculated by the system. This is the 80% of your requirement. So we are supposed to understand the data involved and the source of the data and the values that need to be calculated. So out of this discussion, what is the data involved? Data involved is name of the book, book name, then we had author name, then we had a price, then we had number of books, then we had total, tax. This is the data involved. So when you are taking this data, now what is the data, type of the data, and source. As you are new to the programming, this is the format. People who are good at writing a program, it's okay. For the people who are starting your career newly on the programming, so this is the format you are supposed to understand. So what is the data involved? So when you look at the data, I had a first one, book name. So book name will be of what type? I told book name is two states. It is in the form of string. So is the system will enter the data, system will calculate, or you have to give it? Will the system calculate? No. It is given by user. User has to enter through UI. Then we have author name. It is also in the form of string. Also should be given by user. Now we have number of books or price. Price, it is rupees 200.0. So it should be decimal. System will give, you have to give. Then we have number of books. Integer, user will provide. Then we had total. Total will, user will give. System has to calculate. Then tax. Whoever will calculate the tax? 10%. System has to calculate. Then final price. So understand what is the data involved in your program and who will provide this data, which data need to be calculated by the system. We are supposed to understand what is the data involved, what is the format of the data, and which data will be given by the system, which data will be given by the system, which data will be given by the system, and which data will be calculated by the system. Okay. Now look at this. Now here we are supposed to define now. String, book name, comma, author name. We have decimal, price, total, tax. Define the variables. All the variables which we are going to use, first we are supposed to define them. Define all the variables, then assign the values. Now why I am taking lower camel? Small letter, capital, Why I was taking this? You are supposed to define the variable names with a lower camel format. So we are just writing the logic here. 10% of your So this is how we are calculating the value. Now what we have? So first identify. Always your programmatical format should be this. Identify the data, recognize the type of the data, then know whether user has to enter or system will calculate. Accordingly, you are supposed to write your program. Then I want to print the output on the log file. How do you print it? System.debug, book name, just printing some message. I hope you are good with this. People have followed this, right? So this is how we are recognizing the format of writing the program. When you are new to the programming, this is how you are supposed to start your programming learning. When you are new to the programming, even though if you understand it, but follow this structure. Even though you understand, follow this structure and write it when you are new to the programming. So, right, boss? So 80% of the time we don't know how to write a program because we don't understand the requirement. Most of the time we cannot write a program because we don't understand the requirement. Write a program, start. What next? So because we don't understand what is the requirement, what is the data involved, we get stuck. So recognize the data properly. I hope you are good with this example. Right, boss?
Satish,
Yes.
Satish, it will be final price is also total plus tax.
Right. Now, let us go to the next requirement. Everyone is new to the programming here, right? So let me have a second requirement here. Asked. Now, what type of loan you want? I need education loan. How much amount of? What is the amount you need? What is the amount you need? Fine. How many years? In how many years you'll be paying back? What is the rate of interest? No. Calculate the interest. Total amount. Applied amount. Calculate the EMI. Calculate the EMI. Total amount by This is my requirement. So understand what is the data involved in this requirement and start writing the code. So in this, understand the data involved in this requirement, then start creating the code. Everyone make an attempt of writing the program. In this requirement, whatever the requirement I have given, in this, identify what is the data involved and how to create a program.
Hello.
Yeah, tell me. First, identify the data, everyone. So what is the data involved in this? What is the data? First, loan type, then amount, years, rate, interest, total amount. This is the data involved. Data, type of data, source of the data. So what is the data we had? Loan type. Loan type is what format? Why string? There's a collection of alphabets. source, user or system. User has to provide. Amount, type is decimal, user will provide. Then we had years, 2, 3, so it is integer. Then we have rate of interest, integer. Then we had interest, decimal, I may get decimal value. We will do it, system will calculate. The next one, we had total, decimal, system will calculate. EMI, first number of months we have, number of months, integer, system will calculate. Then we had EMI decimal. So this is the data involved. This is the data involved, and we are supposed to calculate this. This is the data involved, and this is supposed to be calculated. So we are giving here string, loan type. We had decimal, amount, interest, total, number of months, we had integer, rate, years. So we are supposed to give loan type, then amount, then I got next one, years, 3, then rate, then number of months, years into 12, number of years into months. Then we are calculating the interest. Calculating the interest, setting the total, then we are trying to calculate EMI. EMI is total by number of. So identify. So here we understood what is the data involved, which data we have to give, which data system will calculate. Accordingly, we have applied this format. Right, boss? I hope you are clear with this. Right? So what are the data types we are using? String, integer, decimal. If it is a collection of alphanumeric, it is a string. Okay, any numerical value without a decimal point, integer. Any numerical value with decimal point is a decimal. So we have 0.00, so it is a decimal. Here we have 3, which doesn't have any decimal point. If the value doesn't have any decimal point, it is integer. If it has a decimal point, it is decimal. I hope you are good with this. Right, boss? So let us go to the next example. So how do you print this data? If you want to print this data, how do you print it? System.debug. Don't type. applied amount. This is how we can print all the values. Good boss. Okay. Let us go to the next one. So we are understanding the requirement in this format and creating the program. So let us take one more example. See, anyone who is new to the programming, well, even though you understand, follow this complete structure. Right, even though you understand, follow the complete structure what I am giving and define it. It will be useful to you when you go to advanced programmings. Then I'll give the requirement here. My requirement is, look at the requirement. I asked, what is the price of iPhone? Told some 80K. So what is the price of so I told I need this one. Told 10. How many iPhones you need? Concession 20% on iPhone mobiles. %10 on Samsung. Total amount I have to pay. Total amount I have to pay. Calculate the total amount I have to pay. So this is my requirement. To understand what is the data involved in this requirement, take the data, create the logic. So what is the data involved in this case? Then iPhone concession. We have got some data. Now here iPhone price, user has to give it. Number of iPhones. Now we are going to have integer. Number of Samsung, integer. Then iPhone bill. iPhone bill will be collected by system has to collect it. Samsung price. Then we had bill, then calculate the total. Total is also collected by the system. This is what we have printed. Now accordingly write the program. Now accordingly write the program for this. Then we have integer. This is what we create. Then calculate the remaining values. This is how we have created. Now you want to print the values, it's your choice. If you want to print the values, define the values. Right? So overall what we are trying to understand, what is the data involved, what type of data is this, and how to calculate our user is going to provide. As per that, we are going to define the statements. I hope you are good. Right, Amma? Okay. Next, we are trying to understand how to write conditions. Basically defining the variables. Right. So when you go for integer, any numerical value without decimal point, 10, 20, 30. So if I have any numerical value, integer, any value with a decimal point. When do we have these decimal points? Generally, when you take a currency value, currency means price. Okay, any currency value, amount, price, discount, total, this will be a currency. Whenever we are referring to a currency value, generally it will have decimal point. So decimals and integer. Right, boss? Now let us go to the next format. Let us go to the next, defining the statements. How do you define the statements? How do you define the condition? The statements, we want to write a conditions. So let us see how to write conditions in the programming. So when you want to write a conditions, first look at the operators we have. What are the general operators we have? If you want to write any condition, operators are what are the operators? Less than, greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, not equal to, equal to. These are the operators what we have. Not equals to, equals. Out of these, the special symbol what we have is left. Left double equal to right. This will check. Left side value is equal to both are same. Left side value If the left side and right side values are same, it will return true. Double equal to, it checks whether left side value is equal to right side value or not. So let us take some examples here. Check whether name is Sham or not. So how do you check? Name double equal to, it checks whether value of the name is, what is the name? Variable. What is the name? Variable. Whether the value of name equal to Sham or not. Check whether industry is banking. What do you write? Industry double equal to. So what we are doing? Checking whether value of the industry is banking or not. Check whether stage is closed. Check whether rating is hot. Rating is hot. We're giving rating equal to hot. These are the frequently used conditions in the programming. Check whether type is new customer. Check whether lead source is email. So what I'm doing, lead source. So what is the purpose of double equals to? It checks whether left hand side value is equal to right hand side. Whether left hand side and right hand side values are equal or not. It checks whether left hand side value and right hand side value are equal or not. It checks whether left hand side value and right hand side value both are equal or not. It verifies whether left hand side value and right hand side value are equal or not. Okay. Then let us take the other conditions. Now, what about the other condition? Now write these basic conditions. So let us give the other conditions here. Write the conditions, everyone. So write this.
Satish, how to get today?
System.today. Close date equal to system.today. If you are referring to today's, system.today. Close date is 15 days from today. Today plus 50. Lead source is not web. Age less than or equal to. Right. So basic condition. Any condition that you write is going to give you true or false. The conditions what we write, finally they are going to give you true or false. Any condition that you write, they are going to give you true or false. Now how to define multiple conditions? Now I have given a single condition. Now how to define multiple condition? So let us take here. Understanding how to define multiple condition. How to define multiple condition. So if you want to go for a multiple condition, we are supposed to go for logical operators. Logical operators. What are the logical operators we have? We have and. So these are the logical operators what we have. Now, when to use it? Condition 1 and condition 2. If all the conditions are true, condition 1 if any one return true, if the condition is false. So what I'm going to give, age more than 20, age more than 20, industry equals to banking, and industry. Applying multiple condition. Next, lead source. If the lead source is email, and the rating is hot. If read source is web, and type is read source equal to web, type equal to. Similarly, we have other conditions. If industry equal to banking, or ownership is private. We have industry equal to banking, or ownership equal to right, boss. Basically, we are giving the conditions here. Stage name equals to closure one, or close date equal to today. So we define stage name equals to closure one, or close date we're just trying to write some conditions here. So if you want to write more than one condition, so we are supposed to use and or operator. If you want all the conditions to be true, and operator, any one or operator, ampersand or pipeline. I hope you're good. So basically what we are trying to do, we are trying to create some conditions. At the end of the game, every condition will give you true or false. At the end of the game, every condition will give you true or false. Right. Now I want to check. Right. Then I told close date is not close to 10th November 2017. How do you check it? Close date not equals to date, particular date. System.today will give you today's date. How will you refer to a particular date? Date dot new instance of 2017 11. If you want to refer to a particular date, date dot new instance of year, month, day. If you want to refer to a particular date, if I want to refer to today's date, system.today. If I want to refer to a particular date, system.today. If I want to refer to a particular date, date dot new instance of year, month, day. I hope you're good. People are good with this. Right, boss? Am I clear? Okay. Similarly, I give created time check whether created time is 10:30. Created time is 10:30. Then how do you check? Created time equal to time. If it is a time dot new instance of hours 10 minutes 30 seconds 0 milliseconds 0, because I gave only hours and minutes. So you want to compare whether record was created at 10:30. I want to compare whether the operation is performed at 8:45. If you want to check whether the operation is performed at a particular time, then I will go for time dot new instance. day dot new instance, time dot new instance. I hope everyone is good with this. Everyone has followed? Right. So basically, what we have seen for the day, if some basic conditions are given to you, how to define the conditions, and if somebody give a requirement, how do you analyze the requirement and create the program. I hope you are good with this. Clear for everyone? So that's all from my end.